Hey everybody, welcome back to Gideon Stuff, and welcome back to Cheap Knife Week, Volume 3. Tomorrow is going to be our last review, but today we're taking a look at this knife here. This is the Ganzo F750. Kind of an interesting knife. A knife I've had for a long time. I think I've had this knife for like 2 years. No, maybe even a little bit longer than that. I bought this knife when I was, right around when I first started the channel. But I never reviewed it because reasons. I don't know. I just put it in my knife box and forgot about it and dug it out a couple months ago because I was like, you know what? That's a great knife for Cheap Knife Week. So here it is. Let's go ahead and get this review on the road. Start off with our blade length measurement. We are coming in here at just about 3.5 inches. So definitely a full size knife. Go ahead and get our size comparisons going. We're at 1. We're at 2. Yeah, full size knife, pretty similar in size to the Rat 1, actually. Next up, let's go ahead and grab our Benchmade Bug Out, our Spyderco PM2. There they are. Get our Civivis out here to close us off. There's the Elementum, and there's the Praxis. Cool, cool, cool. And let's go ahead and compare it against the knives that we have seen so far in Cheap Knife Week. So that would include, where did I put them? I swear I had all the Cheap Knife Week stuff sitting out here just a second ago. Oh, yeah, there they are. I'm just blind as a bat. There's our Vortex something or another. And there's our Crescent EDC knife. So, let's go ahead and talk about the materials. We have a very nice drop point blade here of 440C steel, which I have no problems with. I think that's a pretty good steel. We do have these, like, carbon fiber stickers over G10, which actually don't look as bad as they normally do. I can't believe I'm saying that, but there. We've got a crossbar lock, steel pocket clip, steel liners, and the blue hardware is steel. It is not titanium. So let's go ahead and get to the review. Or not the review cutting. Yeah. You guys knew what I meant. You know what I meant. You've been here for a while. Let's get to it.
Alrighty, it's Ganzo time. This is one of those brands that I remember when I first started my channel, everyone was like, Ganzo, Ganzo, Ganzo. I got a couple, including this one. I've had this knife for a long time. And, I was impressed with their build quality and stuff, but then I found out they did They took very heavy inspiration from other people's designs. And I just I was like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with that, right? But this one is an original design, and they've been coming out with some interesting things lately. I think they're trying to move their brand more towards original designs, I hope. So, you'll probably see more on this channel. Up till this point, I've only ever reviewed one Ganzo. This is going to make it. This is going to be the second. But let's go ahead and talk about this. Is the Ganzo F750. So, there it is. Let's talk about the action. Crossbar lock. Running on washers. The action is actually really dang solid. I think this is a great action, actually. Great action, actually. Vocabulary. Really good action. Solid lockup. It does feel like it has stronger Omega springs than most Benchmades. It does feel pretty stiff. I'm not the biggest Axis lock fan, but this one's actually pretty good. There are little things I wish I could change. I wish there was a little more access to the studs. I don't like the split carbon fiber, but that's for the review. Let's talk about the ergonomics. This knife feels really dang good in my hand. I would not say this is the most ergonomic knife I've ever felt. Like, it's not the most comfortable. It's not like mind-blowingly amazing, but it's very satisfying. Like, I'm locked in. There's no, like, immediate issues with it. Using the knife, I always feel like I had a great grip. You know, you feel, this is a knife that feels very substantial, but also feels very maneuverable. I always know where that edge is. I can tell, you know, what I'm doing with the knife while I'm holding it. It's just satisfying. And it's a weird thing. Right now, I don't even know really what I'm trying to say, right? Because it's not like anything, it's not like hand melting. It's not like becoming part of my body. But it's also just really dang good. It feels, I already used the word satisfying, but that's exactly what it feels like. It's satisfying. Got a little bit of jumping back here you can use. You can put your thumb up this little indentation up here. It does have finger grooves, but for me, they work out perfectly. I can feel the clip a little bit sometimes, but, you know, it just feels really, really nice. And, yeah, I don't know why, but I like it. It's a pretty hefty knife. It definitely feels like it's got some weight, some substance to it, but I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Okay, let's talk about the carry. The clip, kind of a Spyderco-esque clip. It is reversible. So thank you, Ganzo. That's what we like to see on Ambi knives. In the pocket, this carbon fiber makes so that the clip and the knife itself slides in and out very nicely. The tension on the clip is really good. I like this clip. It's not deep carry, but I don't think every knife has to be deep carry. I'm a big fan of clips like this, actually. It's kind of simple, but it works, right? It works. The knife itself, it's a full-size knife, so, you know, if you're used to carrying full-size knives, you'll know what to expect. All right, let's go ahead and get busy. This blade is a drop point. I mean, if you call it a clip point, I won't argue with you, but I think I'm going to call it a drop point. It's a drop point blade, 440C steel, great stuff. Let's go ahead and get going. Oh, shoot, I need to grab a new piece of cardboard. I forgot to do that. I have so much cardboard in my truck. I fold it up and put it behind the back seat just for review cutting. What is my life? Anyways, oh yeah, look at that. We got some thicker cardboard here. Full flat grind. A robust blade, but also, as you can see here, it's pretty dang slicey. So I don't really have any problems with that right there. Okay, let's go ahead and grab our rope here. Very nice. Let's go ahead and get our pushes done. Oh. Oh, yes. Wow. Yeah, that felt great. That felt great. Awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and get our pool noodle done. Okay, so it did all right. In that, not as good as I was expecting. We did start to there were a couple places where, you know, the edge just went a little bit wonky. We kind of crunched or tore instead of like really slicing through. The edge alignment going through the pool noodle, I could feel there is a little bit of unevenness. But, you know what? Overall, not bad. Let's get to the table and talk about it.
Alrighty, we are back. Let's talk about what I'm liking and not liking about this knife. First of all, it's a good looking knife. It's a very simple knife. You know, they're not doing anything revolutionary. They're not breaking any molds here, and that's okay, right? This is a knife that you can hand to pretty much anyone, and it will be useful for them. This is a very versatile blade shape, very versatile handle. Yeah, it's just all around a very common design, but, you know, designs like this are common because they just work, so that's good. Next thing, I do like this blade. 440C is a great steel, especially at the budget price of all the knives we've looked at so far for Cheap Knife Week. This is the best steel that we've seen, and actually it's better than tomorrow's steel as well. Great steel, good blade shape too. It's attractive. It's kind of it does kind of look like a clip point since you have this little thing that rises up and then, kind of clips down, but I'm going to call it drop point still. It is good looking. Focus up here, camera. Sometimes the camera doesn't like to do what I tell it. I have to force its machines into submission. Anyways, good looking blade, and it's very useful too. We have a flat grind here, and it's not the thinnest thing behind the edge, but it does cut very nicely, and the edge is robust, right? It's a durable edge, and I think that's a good thing, especially for knives that are kind of cheap like this. If you're going to be throwing this around as a beater knife, if you're going to be using this hard, you don't want something that's super delicate, right? You want something that can stand up to a little bit of use, and this definitely can. And by the way, 440C is a pretty tough steel too. I'm actually really impressed with the toughness and edge retention ratio that you get on 440C. Pretty good stuff. The gray coating on here is actually pretty nice. I don't usually go for these gray coatings, but this one's not bad. I think it's pretty good. The blue accents I also love. The thumb studs and the hardware. I think it's a really nice contrast to the carbon fiber and the gray that you see on the blade and the pocket clip. Speaking of the carbon fiber, I do think this knife kind of looks cool with that carbon fiber. I'm not usually the biggest fan of this carbon fiber, and I've got examples of it like on this, but I don't know, for some reason this one does look kind of good. I do have other complaints with it that we'll get into later, but yeah, it's a good looking knife. The design's pretty nice. Build quality's good out of the box. It was really nice. I think we're off center a little bit now. Yeah, but I can probably fix that up. Yeah, we're a little bit loose. Where's my screwdriver? Let's see, a T8. Give it a little bit of a turn. What did that do to the action? Okay, so we are now centered up again. Action still works. A little bit stiffer now. I'll probably have to lube it up or just let it break in a little bit. But yeah, finish was good. Very well made knife. Feels very solid. The action. Let's talk the action. I think the action is really dang good. This knife is running on washers, and I appreciate that. If you're going to have a knife that is kind of made for dirty use or hard use, or it's a beater knife, I always appreciate having washers in the pivot. It just adds another degree of stability, another degree of bomb-proofness, invincibility, maybe not invincibility, but you guys know what I mean. So yeah, I definitely appreciate that it's got washers in the pivot, and that doesn't really affect the action at all. Next thing, this is a crossbar lock, and that's really cool. You're going to get a very solid action, and Ganzo's crossbar lock is actually pretty nice. Feels very strong. And yeah, I don't think you're going to have many problems with this. Omega springs are always a concern for a lot of people. You can buy Omega springs online, but these ones do feel pretty solid, so I like that a whole lot. Next thing, the carry. I do like this pocket clip. This reminds me a lot of the Spyderco basic pocket clip, which I actually like. I love this clip. I think it's a fantastic pocket clip. I know a lot of people hate them, but I like it. It also reminds me of the pocket clip on the Dimco 8015. Again, a pocket clip that I really love. The only problem with these is, the texture underneath. But, yeah, it's a good pocket clip. This kind of pocket design always works out really nicely. Goes in the pocket really well. Holds a knife in there. In the hand, you don't feel it. You don't feel it at all. And this clip is reversible. So, thank you, Ganzo, for making a fully ambidextrous knife. That's awesome. In fact, when I bought this knife, I actually bought two of them, and I gave one of them to my buddy Austin because he's left-handed, And yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons I got this, was I got him one as a gift. I was like, you know what, I might as well get me one too for the channel, and then never reviewed it. Let's talk about the ergonomics. I talked about this pretty extensively in the review cutting, but very good ergonomics. Very good ergonomics. Sometimes when you see that they have finger placement, it doesn't work out that nice because not everyone's hands are the same. For me, this works out really well, and this knife is just very comfortable. You got some jimping back here, you've got some jimping along the top here, a little bit on the blade. You get your thumb in that little depression there. It feels very good. It's a pretty thick knife. Let's bring out the CGRB Pyrite. Yeah, you can see it's a pretty thick knife. Not as thick as this thing. But it is a thick knife that does fill your hand very nicely. The shape of the handle, the way it curves back a little bit here is very nice. It just feels really satisfying in my hand. And it's a thing I can't really put into words, but you pick up this knife and you're like, okay, I'm ready to go to work. I'm ready to put this thing through some tasks. And that's a good feeling, right? It's a really good feeling. Alrighty, let's go ahead and let's get into my dislikes. Number one, this carbon fiber is pretty slippery. And so, especially for, crossbar lock knives, you have to hold the knife like this to close it. I don't like that. The pocket clip luckily is big enough that I can get a good grip on the clip while I'm doing, all the... Get out of there, come on. I might have tightened them up a little bit too much. Let's fix that. Where did I put my screwdriver again? Oh my gosh, guys, my head wasn't screwed on. There it is. We are still pretty good. Centered. Oh, holy cow. Blade play. No up and down. Tiny bit side to side, but yeah, much better action. Anyways, the slippery carbon fiber, I'm not a big fan of, right? I'm really not. Yeah, it can be kind of a pain for knives like this. The other thing, I do wish that the studs for the crossbar lock came out more. You can see that's all you have to grab onto. I wish they stuck out a little bit further so you could get better grip. I mean, it's not that you can't get to them or anything. It's just a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit difficult. Other than that, there's a couple things I can nitpick, like the sharpening choil isn't done quite perfectly, but I mean, it's an easy fix. I do wish the jimping was a little bit better. Maybe I wish they took the jimping down in there, but little things like that. But when I bought this knife, it's like a $25 knife, and I haven't checked Amazon right now. Let me check Amazon right now so I can find it. Okay, just did a little bit of research. Looks like these are actually getting a little bit hard to find these days. So I apologize for that. I guess I should have checked that before I, started carrying this for review. But the same type of build quality and stuff, I'm pretty sure applies to a lot of Ganzos that are still in stock. So this review, might be a Ganzo thing overall. There are still places you can find this, and I've seen them go anywhere from like 27 to, there's one guy trying to sell one for $50. Don't buy one of these for $50, please. But yeah. So let's go ahead and move into my final conclusions. Final conclusions, it's really hard for me to nitpick this knife, especially at the price point it's coming in at. If this was a knife that was $50, $60, there are a lot of things that I would complain about a little bit more. But at the price, and actually even at that, not a lot of things. But you get up in price, I might complain about things like T6 hardware. I might rag them a little bit more for the sharpening choil. Things like that. I might rag them more for this material, but at the price, this is really dang good and pretty hard to beat. This is a fantastic budget knife. And honestly, if you have someone that you want to give a knife to, maybe if it's someone who's, a hardworking guy, your dad, your grandpa, mom, whoever, someone who uses knives a lot, but they're not really a knife person, Ganzo's a great way to go because this knife is built very solidly. I think that it will last a long time. The performance is going to be exactly where it needs to be. And, you know, it's inexpensive, so no one's going to feel bad if it gets dinged up. And I think that's really, really great. So, do I recommend this knife? Yes, I do, absolutely. Ganzos in general, I think, are good. I was going to talk a little bit more about the whole, Ganzo borrowing designs from people, but I'm going to save that for another video. And I will say right now that it does look like Ganzo is making an effort to produce more original designs. Some of them look pretty interesting, and I do want to get my hands on a couple of them. But until then, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, leave a like, comment below, and subscribe. You guys want a sneak peek at what's coming tomorrow? Oh, yeah. Alrighty. You guys have a great day. I've been Gideon. Adios.